This is WPSL Port St. Lucie, the talk of the Treasure Coast.
And now it's time for Joanne's World of Nutrition, and I get a chance to see Joanne, and I haven't had a chance to do that. Find out what mic you're on for sure so that we can get you up here, Joanne.
All right, sounds good.
Oh, no, now we got you sounding
You
good.
have it? You have it?
I've got you.
Awesome. Well, good to hang out, you Ray, this morning.
Yeah.
It's been a long time, so awesome.
Yeah, last time I saw you is when I was with the morning show with G, and that is like a year and a half ago.
I know, right? Time is flying by. I try not to think about how long I've been on the radio because then I'm like, I can't be that old, right?
Well, you're not that old. See?
I love it. See, that's why I like hanging out with you.
Thank you.
I have to, pay Cliff to give me those compliments. So that's good. That's good. All right. Well, I am blessed with having some amazing guests. And today I have Cheryl Myers on the line with us, and she is with Eurofarmer, and she's brilliant. And I love when she tells her backstory because she's got it so down pat, and I love it. I love it. And so, sometimes I have guests on, and when I ask them about their backstory, it's like 20 minutes later, I'm like, okay, can we start talking about nutrition now? But she's got it down pat. So without further ado, good morning, Cheryl. How are you?
I am fine. As you know, I am in sunny Green Bay, Wisconsin, and we have absolutely horrible winters that I really do not enjoy at all. But the only thing that makes up for it is our summers. We do have wonderful summers. So it's a beautiful day out today. All the flowers are blooming, the hummingbirds are humming. And so this is one of the 10 nice days a year we get in Green Bay.
Well, Cheryl, I get free steam rooms and saunas without paying in Florida. Okay, girl? I have you beat. I just have to step outside. I got the steam, I got the heat, and I don't
Yeah.
have to pay. Look at that.
No wonder that you look so wonderful. You're getting these beauty treatments every
Oh,
time you step out the
that's
door.
right. That's right. Oh, it's so funny because this morning I tell all my clients, if you have like a big event coming up, like don't do any of my concoction masks right before because sometimes you can detox your skin. Well, this morning I got up super early. I had so much energy. I'm like, I'm going to do one of my masks. And I'm like, look in the mirror. I'm like, oh, a little red blotchiness happening there. So yeah, we got to do some kind of screen. I notice a lot of people that do in podcasts these days, they put all these intense filters on.
Oh my
I'm like,
gosh, I
come on,
know.
people, you're in the holistic wellness area. Like, come on, take the filters away. Be real.
I hear you. I hear
Oh, I
you.
am so real. You can see my blotches from a mile away.
Oh, I mean, not that we're here to talk about blotches, but quite honestly, on the pod, since we are on a video here,
Yeah.
you don't see it. You just see a lovely glow.
Oh, thank you, Cheryl. Thank you. Awesome. So, yeah, Cheryl, if you can tell my listeners, I know you've been on many, many times, but I'm hoping we have some new ears out there in the audience, and I appreciate everyone listening this morning. So, if you can kind of let everyone know your background, that would be great.
Well, awesome. So my first degree is in nursing, so I'm a registered nurse. I went back and got other degrees, but that's where my heart is. And worked for many years in mainstream healthcare in a variety of situations. I worked as a psychiatric nurse. I worked in dementia care. I did a lot of work in dementia care. I taught courses at a local university on creating dementia environments that are safe for people who are no longer thinking clearly. I just did a lot of different things. A little bit about, I was a little restless, always looking for something kind of new. And we'll fast forward. I ended up in Wisconsin and was working as a pain control specialist for hospice care. So that's end care for people that have a terminal illness where they're expected to not live more than 6 months. And my patients were trying everything. I mean, they were trying all these devices, they were trying just you name it. And they would ask me questions. Well, when I went to school, my professors treated this all like they were a bunch of charlatans and voodoo and stuff, that there's one way and it's the only way, and you stay on the mainstream medical path. Well, hopefully, as you grow and gain some knowledge, and some insight, I found that one just wasn't true. Mainstream medicine fails a lot of people. And in addition to that, I thought that some of the things they were doing might have actually been helping. I didn't see any miracle cures. I wish I could tell you that. But saw people with better pain control, less anxiety, living longer lives than what their doctors expected. I had a lady who was expected to live 3 or 4 months. She lived 2 years and had a pretty good quality of life. So I thought, how do you tell the difference between the good stuff that might actually be providing a benefit and those charlatans out there that are trying to rip people off? And be careful what questions you ask, because that was 27 years ago. And the next thing I knew, I was talking to Terry Lemerond, who is the founder of our company and a legend in this industry. And it just was fate that we happened to both be living in the same city. And he was talking to me about how he wanted somebody from the mainstream medical world to come and work in his organization to help bridge that gap, to help answer questions and to help put people on the right path. And I thought I would give it a try for a couple of months and see if I liked it. And that 27 years ago, I'm still with him. I told Terry, I mean, we've been together longer than some people have been married and some people have been alive. So it's been a wonderful partnership. I'm so grateful to him for giving me this opportunity in this industry because it is the best of all worlds. I love the mainstream science. I believe that we should have science to understand what's going to happen if we put something inside our body. But I also love all of the mystery and all of the learning about cutting edge new things, new ingredients that maybe people in the United States haven't even heard of before. So it's just been a wild ride, and I'm a fortunate person to be doing what I love.
And I am so glad that you took that ride because I love listening to you at the educational workshops and every time you come on the show. I really do learn so much from you, and you have a great comedic way of presenting information. I'm never bored, even when I have to sit there 8 hours straight at those workshops. I don't mind. I love it because you guys are great with presenting sometimes really hardcore information, oncology and immunology and really serious information. So I love that. So let's talk about Terry again because he is my mentor. I love Terry so much. Every time I see him in person or just even his Facebook posts, my heart just is like, this man is full of integrity. Just so much integrity, and he really, walks the talk and just, travels the world, which I think he enjoys very much so, to find these innovative things. And it's not about consumerism and marketing. It's just about like really helping humanity. And I love that about Terry. And I noticed on Facebook it was the anniversary of when he made it an employee-owned company.
Yeah, it's
That
been
was really incredible.
7 years ago.
Yep,
7 years ago now.
I
Absolutely.
love that. What and,
Yes.
and it speaks to who he is that one step. And for anyone listening, also too, Terry also gives a money back guarantee. And being in the business 40 years, I'm gonna tell you, you'll see that online a lot, like with these really obnoxious bullet points of money back guarantee. But trust me, there's a difference between an ethical company that's been around as long as Terry, a pioneer in this wellness field, and giving that for empty bottles. There's a huge difference between the scammers and someone like Terry. He means it. He wants you to take the products for 3 months, see the difference because he knows you're not going to return it because it's going to work. So, and I love that. I have very few returns. If anything, it's, oh, the tablet was too big, or, my doctor said, just wait, I want you to do the medication instead. Like those kind of returns, not ever about, authenticity. Yes.
Yes, we are fortunate. For example, our return rate out of every 400 products we sell, we have less than one returned. So, and usually it's for things like, it didn't agree with my stomach, or it wasn't what, I tried one and it didn't work. And I hate
Well,
that. It's
I
like,
know.
don't take, and I know that you're good at this, but I always tell people that work in the retail field and also people who work in natural medicine and integrative medicine, I never, ever, ever want our company to give a refund for a nearly full bottle. And yet some consumers feel that you're going to think I'm a cheater if I return it and it's got 2 capsules left in it.
Right.
No, exactly the opposite. I would rather refund your money for 2 or 3 empty bottles than I would have you just take 1 or 2 and say, oh, it didn't work for me, because we're all missing out on an opportunity here. The biggest mistake that people make with our products is either, what the most common is, they don't take it long enough. People are new to this field. They're used to the drug model. I pop a pill and my blood pressure's down the next day. They don't understand that with natural medicine, it's not about just artificially pushing down a symptom. It's more about trying to repair what's going on underneath to cause the problem in the first place. And that doesn't always happen overnight. There's a few products we have that do work in less than 1 day, but we have an awful lot that you're going to have to take for a couple of weeks before you start to see really profound benefits. But if you just hang on for a little bit, it can be life-changing. You can start to get your blood sugars back where you want them to get your blood pressure back where you want it to be, your mood, if you're struggling with some kind of, if you're down or if you have a little bit of depression, or we also have products that for anxiety and stress, just stick with it for a little bit and it might set you on an entirely new path of exploring what other things in natural medicine might make a huge and profound difference in my life.
And of course, without the side effects. I have
Oh, no,
recently,
I have to disagree with you there.
oh, I
There's,
know what you're gonna say. Go.
oh, yes, you do, because we've talked before. Like, for example, our curcumin products, our Curamin family of pain relievers, the side effects are things like helps to prevent heart disease, helps to prevent Alzheimer's disease, helps to prevent liver disease. It's these nutrients are compounds that don't just go to one location and do one thing. So if you are looking at helping to alleviate inflammation, for example, which is an important step in addressing pain, that inflammation also plays a role in how our brain works. So you're making your brain healthier when you alleviate inflammation. Inflammation is one of the key aspects of liver disease, liver problems. You start to have more and more inflammation in the liver. Reducing those inflammatory markers, getting that back down into a more reasonable level is good for your liver. It's good for your bones. It's good for your kidneys. So when I talk about side effects, I mean, should probably call them side benefits. That's a heck of a lot better than some prescription drugs or over-the-counter drugs that have pretty scary side effects.
I've noticed recently that the Walgreens, I'm not sure if all drugstores or in pharmacies are doing this, but Walgreens prints the side effects now on large pieces of paper. And I think that's the most amazing thing they finally did, because usually when people see those tiny little printed sheets that you need a major magnifying glass to read, no one reads it ever, right? So these sheets are very, very clear. It's almost like, the large font, bullet, underlined. I hope people are reading this, because it does take time for these medications to work as well, but with 2 to 3 pages of side effects, especially the kidney and liver function. And these are all the most common things, the high blood pressure meds, the statins, the antidepressants, the anti-anxiety. They're all very scary, common side effects. And there are these natural solutions. So today, because we are going back to school already, Cheryl, I can't believe these words. I brought my daughter to her high school orientation yesterday. It's like we're talking 10 days, and for Florida, we're back to school, where my friends in New York are just starting to celebrate summer and enjoy. And I'm like, oh my God, we're already back. So, so stress and anxiety is definitely a topic I need to discuss today, okay?
Absolutely.
All right. And
Absolutely.
also immune system. I know you're well versed in pretty much every subject, but also I definitely want to touch on immunity as well, because I know that there is that, going back to school, like all of a sudden an environment usually too over sterilized with, hand sanitizing and stuff. But either way, people are worried that their kids are going to come home with different bugs. So could you touch on that topic for this morning, stress, anxiety, and then the immune system, how it all plays a role together?
Absolutely. I have to share that I've worked in some pretty serious medical situations. I worked in emergency rooms where you don't always know what's coming through the door. I also worked in oncology, and people in oncology sometimes have real issues with immune system function because the treatments suppress the immune system. So you'll see infections there that you don't see anywhere else. I managed to get through all of that with, an occasional sniffle here and there. But when my son started school, when he started to be around, I've never had so many colds, those kinds of, it's not like he brought home the bubonic plague or anything, but it's those, sometimes it's not those rare, unusual things that you encounter in a hospital setting with very ill people. It's the everyday germs we encounter with our kids, or with working in a crowded space, or with working in retail where you're constantly exposed. And it's not the same situation as a person walking into a hospital room where they're washing their hands and maybe they're even put on a gown and a mask. You're out touching people. People have the occasional sneeze. You're handling money. You're touching your eyes with your contact lenses. We are just exposed to things all the time. And so I personally take things every single day to keep my immune system strong, because I don't know when or what I'm going to be exposed to. And I am, I'm not germ phobic, but at the same time, I'm aware of the fact that we never know what we're going to be exposed to. So why not take care of your immune system every single day? If you're not already doing that, and I know lots of people are not, especially if you as an adult, your kids are going back to school or they're going back into daycare. Yes, you need to pay attention to your child's immune system, but you need to take care of your immune system as well and help fight some of these things off. Have you ever had the experience where your child gets the sniffles and they're sick for 2 or 3 days and you catch it and you're coughing for 3 weeks? So absolutely, you've got to protect yourself. And there's a variety of ways that we can talk about to do that every single day. There's not a one size fits all. I think a multivitamin and mineral formula, we have our clinical essentials that has the right form of the vitamins, the most active form of the vitamins, which you don't often see in a multivitamin and mineral formula. The minerals are attached to protein or amino acids from proteins. And that sounds kind of highfalutin, but what that means is the body has a real easy time pulling in amino acids. It struggles with minerals. If you attach them together, boom, you're going to get a much better mineral absorption. And it might surprise you to find that in the United States, we have more mineral deficiencies than we do vitamin deficiencies. So if you're building a castle to protect yourself, you want those walls to be tall and strong, you cannot do that unless you have a firm foundation. And that's where I see things like our clinical essentials, multivitamin and mineral formula. That's part of your strong foundation. Healthy omega-3 fatty acids. That's part of your foundation. We have a salmon omega-3, but it's not from the oil, which freaks people out a little bit. It's like, isn't fish oil what you're supposed to take to get those omega-3s? There's a process that was developed at University of Nancy in France, where they flush the head of the salmon with cold water. They treat it with proteolytic enzymes. They spin it so that the heavy parts and the light parts are separated. And then they freeze dry the heavy parts and boom, there it is. So when you use the head of the salmon as a whole product, you're getting the omega-3s attached to phospholipids, not triglycerides. It's also not in an oil triglyceride matrix, which means there's zero rancidity. You're not going to burp it up. You're not going to smell like cat food. You're not going to have all of these issues that so many people struggle with when they're taking an oil form. And yet you get these amazing omega-3s into your body. And they have found in study after study after study, having your body replete with healthy levels of DHA and EPA is absolutely crucial to proper immune system function and prevention, and for your kids as well. My youngest son is 24 years old, and his entire life, he didn't even know what applesauce actually tasted like, because every morning we'd have a little applesauce, and every morning there would be some omega-3s in that applesauce. So, I think if he ever encountered applesauce, he'd probably think it tastes funny. It didn't have near enough of a fish flavor to it. So it's really, really good. It's really good. And you know what? When our kids are going through puberty, I personally think puberty is harder than it used to be. because I think we're exposed to, because in puberty, your hormones go wackadoodle. Your body just starts to release massive amounts of hormones that change your actual body. It's a miracle if you stop and think about it, that you go from a little flat-chested girl who's 4 foot 10 inches tall to 5 foot 8 inch bodacious, lovely, curvy woman with the ability to create other children. I mean, that's just miraculous. And that happens in a really short period of time. But we are exposed to so many hormone disruptors in our environment that I think that boys and girls are having a harder time with puberty. That first off, they're having earlier and earlier puberties. A couple hundred years ago, average age of puberty for a girl was 16. When I was growing up, it was 13. Then it dropped to 12. Now it's down to 11. So it's just, these little girls are developing huge exposures to all these hormones. And I think and I know that I'm doing a very roundabout route, but when we think about how to keep our kids healthy, let's think about those teenage years as well. And brain health, I mean, they're going to struggle. I haven't met a teenager yet who didn't struggle with anxiety or stress or self-doubt or mood swings, I mean, there's a lot going on, that building that foundation for life with something like our Vectomega, that French imported product that has such a huge role in brain health, is absolutely beneficial. And I personally think kind of necessary as you're going through all these transitions.
You make a valid point. I do have 4 kids, and 2 of them are 14 and 15. And I definitely see that they need more support. They need more support for their, mental health, their physical health, like you said. When they transition from that 13-year-old stage to the 14, 15, it's like this extreme metamorphosis. I'm like,
Yes.
whoa, what happened? But yes, absolutely. And I love that you brought up the clinical essentials and the Vector Mega, because a lot of people are looking for that, magic bullet, that magic pill for their immune system, where we are built very simple, just like a car engine. We need the basics, and that the multivitamin, I love clinical essentials. I
I
pretty
do
much
too.
only carry 2 other choices. And the clinical essentials and the Vector Mega, that's a perfect for everyone and anyone, really.
Absolutely.
Yep.
And I know it's not very exciting to talk about the foundation of the castle. If you go and tour Europe or Japan or someplace else where they have glorious castles, you don't walk over and stare at the foundation and say, wow, that's magnificent, right? You're looking at the whole gorgeous capsule as it goes up into the
Cheryl,
air.
we're going to take a quick break and we will be right back with more of that. But I love that analogy. Totally.
All right.
Hi, this is Joanne from Nutrition World and Wellness Center. I am really excited to introduce new guests and topics to my show every Wednesday morning at 10 a.m. here on WPSL, where my listeners can call in on any topic. If I don't know the answer, I'll try to find it. We want to help you become the best version of yourself. We'll have naturopaths, coaches. I am looking forward to sharing my years of experience with my listeners so we can enjoy this life journey together.
Visit Joanne's Nutrition World in the Krass Square, formerly known as the Arcade Building, located at US 1 and Orange Avenue, across from Fort Pierce City Hall. Open Monday through Friday from 10 to 4, Saturdays 10 to 3. Taking appointments for the Wellness Center online at joannesnutritionworld.com or call 772-464-3598.
And we're back with Joanne's Nutrition World with your host, Joanne Seeger, and her guest, Cheryl Myers. And welcome back, second half.
Thank you very much. All right. So, Cheryl, we're talking about a lot of exciting things, but I forgot to make my big, exciting announcement to my listeners. So, last week, I kind of asked my listeners if they could give me some input on what area my local listeners were at. So with the Treasure Coast, my business is in Fort Pierce, and then the next city we have Port St. Lucie, which is very large, but it's broken down into where I live, which is Tradition, St. Lucie West, and then the PGA East and West. And Nutrition Smart has gone out of business, that one location. Recently, just in the last couple weeks. So I asked some input, and I decided I am opening up a location there. And it is not going to be in their spot because, that's humongous with lots of groceries and stuff. But right in that same plaza, I will be opening up very soon, like very soon. I get antsy and a little OCD, so I don't drag my feet. So if you are a Nutrition Smart customer and you have your favorites, you can text them to my store line and I can make sure that I will have your favorites for you. So if you text 772-464-3598 what your favorite products are, because I know they were there for about 20 years. So you might have needs that I can't meet in my Fort Pierce location right now. Please reach out to me. We definitely want to make sure that you can keep your programs going, and hopefully, and Dr. Christopher Allison will still be with me in the Port St. Lucie location, which I know all you guys love him there too. So we'll just keep it going strong, just a short little hiccup, and then we'll have some doors open for you. Isn't that exciting, Cheryl?
Oh my gosh, yes, congratulations.
Thank you, thank
And
you.
it really makes me happy that you're adding another store and serving people that are losing access to some of the products that might have been really, really important to their health. Because to me, there's a couple of different types of people that work in this field. There's the people who just want money and they will sell you anything as long as they make money. And a lot of them are online and they have absolutely glorious websites and beautiful pictures and doctors from Harvard and Yale that are giving, yeah, a lot of yada,
And
yada, yada, yada.
actresses, yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Those are not my people. The people that I think are making a difference in the health of America are the folks that, number one, are screening the products that they bring into their stores because there's so much out there that is just not useful. The most money you will ever spend on a dietary supplement is the one that does absolutely nothing for you. I do this every day, and it's hard for me to screen through all of the different available ingredients and products that are out there. So it's important to work with a store that has already done that screening, and if they're carrying it, you got a pretty good chance that it's legitimate, it hasn't been adulterated, you know where it came from. And the other thing is investment in education. We spoke briefly about Terry Limeron. One of the phrases he says that I steal all the time is, we don't sell products. We sell health and we sell the education to help people use products to get to their absolute most best optimal health. So we have to work with people that are willing to invest in understanding. Why is it important that omega-3s are attached to phospholipids instead of triglycerides? Why is that important? Somebody in the audience may be scratching their head. I don't even know what phospholipids are, and aren't triglycerides those bad things on my blood tests?
Right.
Well, I'll go to Joanne and she will tell you the difference and why it's important. So it's not just about hype and it's not just about the latest and greatest, popular ingredient. It's about delivery systems. It's about how does it get into your body? It's about what's the right dosage. Nothing makes me more angry than seeing somebody selling a product and they're saying it's backed by 5 clinical studies, which means tested in human beings, 5 published studies. And you read the studies and the dose in the study was 500 milligrams twice a day, and you pick up the product and there's 5 milligrams in it.
Right.
You
And
know,
they
I
do
hate
that
that.
so much online with those storylines.
Yes,
They
yes.
have all the right ingredients, but then it's like a sprinkle of that each one. And I had a customer, she's probably listening now. I've known her for 20 years. She sent me like 11:30 at night the story. Joanne, this sounds so great. Can you look into it for me? And now I can see within 5 seconds markers. Like one, if they don't give you ingredients right away, like you
Right.
really have to dig deep for ingredients, then I know it's the scam one. If they mention an actor, I know it's one of the scam ones. Like it's so obvious now, the telltale signs, but consumers are still falling for this every day. So it's going to be a little more challenging for me at this location because it's going to be larger than my Fort Pierce. I will have a wellness center in Port St. Lucie as well, but that's going to be added later. I'm just going to try to open as quick as possible for these people that are in need. But I have a lot more shelves to fill, and Terry can only fill so many, even though I'll have all of it. But so yeah, it's hard because a lot of the companies that I've known for 40 years, some of them unfortunately are not around, and some of these names I don't trust them. So I'm gonna have to do a lot of homework.
Oh, I hear you. And it's been frustrating in this industry. As you know, as I said, we're employee owned. And I think, I'm not 100% sure, so correct me if you ever find another, but I think we're the only dietary supplement company in this space that's employee owned. A lot of the independents, the
Absolutely.
ones that specialize in things that are actually medicinal and not just garden variety, have been lucrative because they sell products and have been snapped up by big corporations
Yeah,
like
all
Nestle.
of them.
Nestle, that the same company that, drains areas of their spring water to make bottled water and contribute to plastic waste. The same company that convinced poor women that breastfeeding was not as healthy or nutritious as bottle feeding, so they could sell more formula.
I
I'm
just told that story
Oh my
yesterday.
gosh, there's been so many exposés on some of these huge mega corporations. Why would I buy dietary supplements for them? Clorox,
Yep.
which I'm not going to diss Clorox if you sometimes bleach is necessary, but Clorox bought a company in our space and they leave the names, but then they start making these behind the scenes accountant kinds of changes like, ooh, that putting 500 milligrams of that raw material in there is
Too
pretty expensive.
expensive. Yeah.
Yeah, let's keep the price the same, but let's drop it to 25
Yeah, or let's
milligrams.
get the
But
C grade instead of the A
yes,
grade, that
yes,
one will
yes,
notice. It's the same color.
yes,
I
yes. And
know,
we can
and that's
slowly,
when you have that awareness, right, Cheryl? It's hard because I
Mhm.
have that awareness. I know the companies, like everyone has sold out, and I really had faith that these big corporate companies wanted companies that made money, so they won't change what's great, but they do. They change.
It's
And
because
they
they're not from our
discontinue the
world.
stuff that worked. And
Yeah,
yep, it's
it's because they're not from our world. And
right.
on paper, I actually had this discussion one time because I used to run product development for enzymatic therapy. So I had a lot of connections in the vendor world of, where somebody who is not from this world, an executive who came over from another company, not associated with natural health at all, said, why are we paying so much money to put, tricalcium phosphate in this product when calcium carbonate is 90% cheaper? Let's switch it over to calcium carbonate. We'll have a much better ROI, return on investment. We'll have a much better margin, which means the money you make off of any product. And I said, because calcium carbonate is not a very absorbable form of calcium. There's lots of issues with calcium carbonate, neutralizing the stomach acid, which can have long-term adverse effects. And this product is designed to be taken long-term. The form of calcium that was chosen for a reason. And they just couldn't get it through their head. Calcium's calcium. Well, if you're not in our business, then you just start to look at it and say, well, isn't it all the same? No, it is not all the same. That's like looking at a high fifth generation antibiotic for a serious infection that is threatening a person's life, like a meningitis, and saying, why are you using an antibiotic that costs $500 a dose when penicillin is dirt cheap? Let's use penicillin for it. Penicillin is not going to work for that specific unusual life-threatening infection. And they just think that if it works for one thing, it should work for everything. And I hate it as well, this is just a personal rant, so forgive me, but I hate it that more and more people not from this world are not willing to learn about what makes the world of natural medicine so special and so effective are starting to budge into this space. So thank you, thank you, thank you for opening another store and getting really quality, effective dietary supplements out there to people.
Absolutely, and we'll have everyone doing the workshops and the educational training. And so I applaud Terry with all. If anyone comes to my Fort Pierce location in soon Port St. Lucie, you will see free books given out on pretty much every topic, literature on every topic. I don't think there's one topic we don't have literature. And Terry educates you And again, it's not about selling you something, it's about helping you understand the cause of situations, not treating a symptom. And that's where sometimes, and I love that you bridge the two worlds, because in the medical system, I just took someone that I care about. I helped take care of him, and I brought him into a heart appointment, and they were ready to dismiss him after like a 3 minute stepping into the room. They checked, with the stethoscope, his heart rate, and like, oh, okay, you're good, because they're looking at him. And I said, doctor, I'm here to tell you a few things. And he's like, okay. I said, he used to be over 300 pounds for most of his younger and early adult life. He just recently lost that weight. And he was on many psychiatric meds and on and on. Like, I forced the history on him, because obviously he's thinking, oh, because he had came in because he passed out for no apparent reason. And I'm like, something is going on. Can you please look further? I
Mhm.
mean, he was looking at him now like, oh, he's normal weight. He's young. He's only 33. He must be fine. I'm like, nope, come back in the room. and
Yeah,
and he
I worry
listened.
about people that don't have an advocate with
Abs-
them, especially if they're
Absolutely.
not thinking clearly, like an older person who maybe thinks clearly, but they can't respond quickly enough. They go in and then they're trying to be polite and they're like, oh, well, the doctor doesn't.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's
You're
like,
just
no.
kind of having that quick 5 minutes answering a few questions, and then you're like all of a sudden saying goodbye, and you're like, wait, what happened? Yep.
You know what? That causes me anxiety.
Oh, perfect segue. And so, what should we do with the anxiety? I know I always have a box of what you're about to say in
Oh,
reserve.
yes, absolutely. So, anxiety is, everybody thinks anxiety is some kind of a failure, like you're not strong enough, don't have intestinal fortitude, you're not trying hard enough. How many times do we tell people to calm down? Does that ever work? That's like telling a depressed person to cheer up. There are actual physical things that are going on in your body when you are anxious, and we should respect our anxiety, because if we had no anxiety, we would walk down the street with $100 bills in our pockets through dark alleys and bad parts of town at night. Anxiety gives us warning signals like this is scary, this might hurt you, or that you need to be extra cautious in this situation. Or extreme anxiety is when you have that fight or flight response, and now you've got your hair standing on ends and your eyes wide open and your muscles really pumping in order to fight back or to extricate yourself from some kind of life-threatening situation. So anxiety is in one way our friend, but these physiological responses, sometimes they get out of whack. And so something that should cause us a little bit of anxiety just overwhelms us. And so we need to look at how we can modulate some of those responses. And then there are individuals who are having some struggles that have, ongoing anxiety. They wake up every day feeling like something bad is going to happen, which I think is a very sad way to have to live your life. So looking at what can we adjust, what can we provide to help people get their brain back into a space where they're going to have a more normalized reaction to anxiety instead of having these extremes or these chronic issues. There's two things, and we've already talked about Vectomega. Your brain, every part of your body loves omega-3 fatty acids. Your brain loves them the most, I think, especially the DHA from fish. DHA is incorporated into the cell wall of every single brain cell, crucially important. So there's your foundation. But then we also have a product called AngioCalm. And this is developed at the Budapest, in Budapest, Hungary, at the Academy of Sciences. They were doing research on plant compounds that attach to specific CB1 receptors in the brain to alleviate stress and anxiety, but not compounds that touch every CB1 receptor in the brain, because then that can cause drowsiness, alterations in judgment, enhancement of appetite, altered sensory stimulation, altered hearing, altered visual stimuli, and there's just a whole cause paranoia. So when we take, let's say we're using medicinal marijuana, which for some people works great, so I'm not here to diss it, but you get so many cannabinoids in your body. There's over 100 different cannabinoids in marijuana. They flip all the switches in your brain. And some of those you may want flip. Maybe it lifts your mood. Maybe it makes you a little bit giddy. but you don't want it right before you go to work or have to drive long distance. Maybe it makes, maybe you're using it to help you sleep. You don't want to take it during the day when you have to watch your kids because you might just fall asleep while the, toddler is crawling around. So we want to look at specific receptors so that we can flip the switches in the brain for relaxation, a sense of feeling calm and in control, pushing down, getting rid of those butterflies in the stomach. How do we do that? Well, they tested over 400 plants and they found that there are certain compounds in echinacea, of all things. I know that a lot of people use echinacea for immune system stimulant. It's not that. It's a compound from echinacea that they take out and concentrate. And it flips the switches on calmness and well-being, but it doesn't make you sleepy. It doesn't alter your judgment. It doesn't alter your perception. You don't crave potato chips and brownies. It doesn't knock you out. It's non-habit forming. And they created this product called AngioCalm. And it is fantastic. And it is so safe that it's approved for use in children down to the age of 4. And it's sad that we have to talk about using anything for children having anxiety, because one would hope that children don't, but unfortunately they do. There's a lot of kids struggling with lots of aspects of anxiety. So it's very useful. Teeny tiny little tablet, little bit goes a long way. The dose is 1 or 2 twice daily. Some people do fine over time. They just drop it down to 1 or 2 tablets a day. Some people struggle a little bit more, and at least initially they may be taking 2 tablets 3 times a day. I always say it's very safe and you can adjust it up and down to get to the sweet spot where you're feeling your best. And it works pretty quickly. You feel a difference generally the first day, unless you're dealing with significant issues. Like, let's just say you're anxious about final exam, or you're a little bit nervous about your upcoming golf game. I had a golfer contact me and wanted me to sell AngioCalm in golf pro shops because he said it boosted his game, because it took his anxiety down just enough that he hit better and was able to aim better. I said, I don't think we have a future in golf pro shops, but thank you for the compliment. Then, of getting on airplanes. Some people are very anxious about getting on airplanes. 1 or 2 tablets 45 minutes before, you're going to have a much better experience. And that's great for occasional anxiety. But where it really shines, in my opinion, are for those people that are struggling on a pretty regular basis. Almost every day they're struggling with it. Or they're going through a very stressful time in their life where they just can't seem to get a handle on their negative thinking, where they just keep ruminating over, oh my God, what if, what if, what if? We've all been there. Some people get stuck longer than others in that pattern. You might want to use a little bit more, but using it every day, they found you start to really address between 7 and 14 days later is when you're going to see the biggest drops in ongoing everyday anxiety.
Cheryl, I want to make a note that most of the medication, as I know you're aware, for anxiety, they're very strict about the protocol and not to go off because of a situation could occur when you go off. What I love about AngioCalm is, like, that's why, the box will sit in my pantry and people will use it as necessary without a fear, like, oh, but I didn't take it last week. Like, what happens if I don't take it? And you don't have that worry. It's just like, if I have the moments where I'm overwhelmed and it's like, whoa, I got a lot to do and my heart is racing, I can take one and all of a sudden my mental acuity is sharp, but I don't feel that raciness. And that, I love that about it. And then, like, my employee takes it and she uses it for a whole other experience, like, and it works for all of us, and all our different needs. So I love AngioCalm.
Well, I'm really glad you brought that up, because if you're listening, please don't throw your anxiety drugs or your antidepressant drugs in the trash and go cold turkey, because they have changed your brain chemistry and they've become an artificial support, something like a crutch. And I don't mean that in a bad way, but they're giving you artificial support. And I believe, after having worked in and have a degree in psychology, that there are some people that may need medications, at least short term. However, if you take that away suddenly, especially with anxiety drugs, some of the adverse effects are pretty dreadful. First, you can get a tidal wave of anxiety coming back on you. Secondly, you can have seizures because you've altered your brain chemistry. You can have really serious physiological things happen. So if it's something that, if you're looking at, I want to, and the same thing with depression, if you are taking an antidepressant and you cut it cold turkey, you can have rebound depression that feels even worse. And, can have some of those kinds of issues come down on you as well. So talk to your doctor, talk to whoever prescribed the drug and say, I want to go on a little holiday if you want to try something different. I want to try this, and then taper down under medical supervision. But absolutely, or if maybe ask your doctor if it's okay that you think that there's supplements that are not known to interact with these prescription drugs. I'm going to add in some dietary supplements that might help my brain be a little bit healthier. I know for sure that using Vectomega is not contraindicated with any antidepressant or anti-anxiety medication. So you can do that right away to help rebuild. From the best that we understand and how these products work, and I want to add the caveat is there are literally millions of drug and nutrient potential combinations, and very few of them have been clinically studied. But based on what we know with mechanism of action, we have not seen a lot of issues with people who are talking with their doctors and using Anxiocalm, even if they're on a prescription antidepressant or a prescription anti-anxiety. It's not like you're going to get some, because they work differently. They work at the underlying cause instead of just taking the symptom away. They don't have that additive effect. It's not like taking one shot of tequila and then taking a shot of whiskey and wondering why you're getting drunk. It's not just adding more on of the same thing and now, whoo, you're a little bit woozy. No, it's like taking a shot of tequila and a shot of orange juice. They're just very, very different things. They work different ways in the body.
Great analogy. I love it.
And please don't tell Terry that I'm comparing our products to tequila.
Never, never. Yeah, I'm just thinking the whiskey still. I'm
All
hungry.
right, there you go.
And what about Saffron Lift? That is becoming a very popular product at my store, the Saffron Lift. And I love the fact that it's from saffron because saffron is just such a beautiful flower, right? And it's just incredible. So can you touch on that? We have about 7 more minutes.
Okay, well, I could do 7 hours, but it is one of my favorite products too. I think that there are a couple of things that are especially useful for people with depression. And by the way, I believe that depression is a life-threatening illness. I mean, the rates of self-harm and suicide, especially in young men, has been climbing every year for a long time. And I think that we need to start paying attention to these diseases, understand that there's brain chemistry involved. This is not just a person with poor willpower or they're not trying hard enough. They have a brain problem. And if we don't fix it, it's going to manifest itself in some potentially very dangerous ways. So I'm all about, of course, Vectomega right off the get-go. First thing you need to start building that foundation. On to that, two of the most powerful natural antidepressant medications I know of in the natural world are curcumin and saffron. And they both work a little bit differently, but they're both clinically studied, scientifically investigated, and proven to alleviate mild to moderate in some cases, or in curcumin's, it's been tested in major depressive disorder. So we've got this combination together. We have a uniquely standardized saffron that has been used in published human clinical trials. Saffron works more directly on the neurotransmitter, the chemicals that adjust our mood, works more directly on those. And it also has the extra added benefit is it cuts anxiety-related food cravings. So if you're a person who gets nervous and reaches for the Haagen-Dazs or the Ben & Jerry's or the potato chips, this will help. It's been shown to reduce anxious snacking or self-medication snacking, trying to use food to make yourself feel better by as much as 50%. I would never pitch it as a weight loss drug. Gosh, is there a lot of craziness going on in that category? But if you're struggling with weight, if one of your issues is eating when you get a little nervous or anxious or whatever, absolutely Saffron Lift is going to help. But saffron helps with the neurotransmitters. You start to see benefits in about 2 weeks. Curcumin works in different areas of the brain. People with depression, along with people with the beginnings of dementia or full-on Alzheimer's disease, have something in common: high levels of inflammation in the brain, high levels of oxidative stress in the brain. Our BCM95, which is in our CuraMed products, but also our CuraMen family of pain products, and also in Saffron Lift, has been shown to cross the blood-brain barrier 14 times better than plain curcumin. Reduces inflammation, reduces oxidative stress, and it does something else really cool. It increases the ability of the brain to make new brain cells. When I was a kid, I was taught that you got all the brain cells you're going to get, so don't go to too many bachelorette parties because from now on it's just downhill. No, that's not true. Our brain does make new brain cells every single day, but that process is triggered by a compound called BDNF, brain-derived neurotropic factor. I don't know who names these things, but it stimulates neurogenesis, the creation of new brain cells. Lack of neurogenesis is very closely associated with severe depression. And alleviating that and increasing the ability of the brain to make new brain cells also at the same time alleviates certain aspects of depression. Our curcumin on its own, which is in the saffron lift, was used in a study compared to the prescription drug fluoxetine, that's the generic of Prozac, where it worked as well as the Prozac, but it did not cause the adverse effects. An arm of the study used it in combination with the drug. People got slightly better results, but actually the herb on its own or the drug on its own did about 90% as well. There wasn't a great synergism between the two when you added them on, but there was no danger in adding them on either. So both of these clinically studied ingredients, the saffron, the EP15, the curcumin, the BCM95 curcumin that has the boosted absorption and does much better at getting into the brain, are put together in this product. I think it is a match made in heaven because you're going, regardless of what's going on with you, it's addressing those issues, even if it's just a little bit low mood, a little down in the dumps. Your kids went off to college, you're dealing with empty house and or whatever you're dealing with, marital difficulties, and it just kind of got you down. You can't seem to get your mojo back. This is a fantastic product.
I love it. And I do have a great testimonial from my best friend.
Oh,
She decided on her own to go off her antidepressant with her doctor's help, and they did achieve it. It did take a while to get to that step. But then she tried the saffron lift, and that was about when you first came. Has it been a year already?
it might be a little over a year.
Oh, okay. So yeah, I feel like it's been a year that she's been on it, and she loves it. It's not like a perfect world for her, but let me tell you that without those side effects, she feels more stable and more in control. These are her words. So I thank you and thank Terry for again having these incredible products. So everyone, another show has concluded. So again, this is Cheryl Myers with Terry Naturally, you're a farmer. Again, these are products that are tested, money back guarantee, the real deal. And Cheryl, thank you so much. And I hope you have a wonderful month or so. And I look forward to seeing you at the next workshop or the Soho. Are you going to be at Soho?
No, I'm going to be in Maho in Columbus, Ohio.
Oh, okay then. All right. Sounds good. Thanks, Cheryl. Have a great one. All right,
Okay.
everyone. Again, text us what needs you have for Port St. Lucie location, 772-464-3598. Thanks, everyone. Bye.
You've been listening to Joanne's World of Nutrition, heard every Wednesday, 10:05 to 11 o'clock on 1590 WPSL, Port St. Lucie.